Amazon gets more secure, Square goes public, and Facebook will help your next breakup go just a little bit smoother. Tech News Tonight is next.
This is Twit.
This is Tech News Tonight, episode 471 for Thursday, November 19th, 2015. This episode is brought to you by Epson's new EcoTank printers. With Epson's line of SuperTank all-in-one printers, you can print thousands of documents without running out of ink. EcoTank is loaded and ready to print when you are. Visit epson.com/ecotank to find out more. Welcome, I am Megan Morrone. Today, mobile payments company Square and online dating giant Match Group both went public. After the break, we will talk to TechCrunch reporter Alex Wilhelm about how they did and what that means for the rest of us. But first, let's get to the tech headlines. Amazon just quietly added two-factor authentication to their login process, which means they've joined Google, Facebook, Twitter, Microsoft, and every other big company who cares even a little bit about your security. Two-factor authentication adds an extra identity confirmation step to make sure it's really you logging into your account. Once you turn on two-factor, you'll be required to enter a code that's sent to your phone via SMS or an app like Google Authenticator. Remember, you need to enable this feature yourself, and I would say that you probably should. There is really no area of our lives, public or personal, that Facebook does not want to get up all into in order to make your Facebook experience more pleasant so that you will look at more ads. Today, the company announced that they are testing tools that will help you manage how you interact with an ex-partner after a breakup. You know, consuming a pint of ice cream as you scroll through photos of them with their new partner. I know how these things work. I watch HBO's Girls. Apparently, so do the product managers at Facebook. So soon, when you change your relationship status on Facebook, you will have options beyond just blocking your ex. According to Facebook, you'll be presented with screens that will allow you to see less from your ex, limit what your ex can see of you, and edit your photos, just like we used to do with the tools we had back in the 90s. Back then, we called them scissors. YouTube is showing its support of fair use with big piles of cash. That's right. According to the company's public policy blog, they will now offer legal support for some videos that have received unfair DMCA takedown notices. The blog post says YouTube will start with a handful of videos that fall under fair use cases of commentary, criticism, news, and parody. The company says they won't pay the legal fees for all video creators or even for all creators who've received takedown notices for content that is clearly fair use. They claim that picking and choosing even a small number of videos to defend will make a positive impact on the entire YouTube ecosystem. Thank you to viewer Rob from Scotland for sending me the Telegraph story about the encrypted messaging app Telegram. In response to reports of users spreading abusive ISIS propaganda through their public channels, Telegram has blocked 78 accounts since the Paris attacks. Pavel Durov, the Russian founder of Telegram, has been criticized before when ISIS claimed they had switched from Twitter to Telegram because Telegram had better encryption policies. Durov was quick to point out that the channels he blocked were public and that all Telegram chats and group chats are private amongst their participants, and Telegram will not process any requests related to them. Sticker sets, channels, and bots on Telegram are publicly available. Durov says if you find a sticker set or a bot on Telegram that you think is illegal, please ping them at abuse@telegram.org. Telegram currently claims to have over 60 million users worldwide. Coming up, despite skepticism and some very bad PR, Match and Square both surge in the stock market. What does it all mean? But first, this episode is brought to you by Epson. Epson's revolutionary EcoTank line of printers for home and office introduce a new age in printing. The new EcoTank ET4550 wireless all-in-one printer doesn't use ink cartridges. Instead, it features an innovative refillable ink tank. It comes with enough ink to print up to 8,500 pages. That's equivalent to about 50 ink cartridge sets. You're loaded and ready to print for up to 2 years. Powered by Epson's leading-edge precision core technology, it delivers high-speed, vivid colors and laser-quality black text, plus auto two-sided printing, a 30-page auto document feeder, and easy wireless printing from tablets and smartphones. Visit epson.com/ecotank today to transform the way your home, office, or work group prints. For the best combination of ease and value, turn to the new Epson EcoTank printers. That's epson.com/ecotank, and we thank Epson for their support. Is it just me, or does it feel a little like 1998 around here We had not one but two big internet IPOs today that surged well past their offering price, or a little past their offering price. Mobile payments company Square and online dating company Match both debuted on Wall Street today. Joining us to discuss these public offerings is writer, editor, and finance expert Alex Wilhelm from TechCrunch. Hi, Alex.
I will take it.
Okay, you will take finance expert? Okay, good.
Sure.
So let's start with Square. That's the payments company. It was founded by Jack Dorsey after he got kicked out of Twitter in 2008. And now Dorsey's back as the CEO of Twitter, of course. And last night, Square was priced at $9 a share, which was under what it was valued by private investors earlier this year. And then what happened in trading today?
Well, it's actually a bit worse than what you said, because when they priced at a range of $11 to $13 a share, it was still kind of low. And they priced at the end below that. So it was conservative and then bad. I think people were really worried about how it performed. But, haters be haters. Today is up more than 40%. So the IPO was, in the end, very successful. I mean, it did quite well.
So what does this prove?
I think it proves that the pessimism that the bankers had when they priced the IPO was a little bit unwarranted, but it's still trading quite below where it used to be valued on the private markets. And so I think we're seeing a little bit of a correction between private and public valuations. That's very healthy, because we don't want to have those two numbers get too far out of whack. So it hurts companies when they try to go public and can't actually repay the money they've taken as investment.
So a lot of people are saying that investors are worried about the fact that Dorsey is running Twitter and Square, and how's he possibly going to do that? Do you think that had anything to do with what happened today?
I don't think so, but I'm curious how far we've gotten on human cloning, because I don't know how he's going to do both jobs. But one argument that I've really enjoyed on this topic is that, if you look at a company like Microsoft, they have one CEO and a bunch of divisions. Is it harder to run that scale of a company or two smaller public corporations? I'm actually not sure. But his two job status was actually a risk factor in their S1, so investors have had plenty of time to think about it. But I don't think right now that's the main cause for concern.
That's really interesting, because I hadn't heard that argument. But Microsoft, some of the things they're doing in Microsoft Research, let's say, versus the Xbox, have far less in common than Square and Twitter do.
I mean, yeah, that's the whole point. I mean, Microsoft is doing virtual reality and music and operating systems and hardware and phones, and how complex is that? So if Dorsey can effectively split his time, then I think he'll be in good shape. But it's a question of, are employees going to be okay with essentially a 2/3 time CEO? Because he can't work two full-time jobs. There's not enough hours in the day. And so does that, hurt morale? Maybe. Does it hurt investor confidence? Maybe. But, me and you can't suss that out just talking. We'll have to see how the stock price performs.
So Square started in 2010, I think. And is that a long time for an IPO to happen?
No, it's actually quite fast. I mean, Square grew at a really incredible clip during its early, middle, and now late history. And I think that people were a little surprised when they saw the financial numbers when they came out in the S1, and then they filed an updated S1 that had actually a rougher financial picture. But they're obviously a very innovative company. They have a lot of new products coming online, and their core model seems to be kind of getting its act together financially. So I think they're going to be okay. Certainly investors thought that today when they bid the shares up so aggressively. It's a really cool company. I think they still have some pizzazz, some hype around them that'll help with hiring. So I would say cautiously optimistic on my end.
So a few months ago, you dug into how brand new startups were faring in the stock market after they IPO'd versus old companies like Microsoft, Google, and Apple. What did you find when you dug into that data?
This was back in August, I think, somewhere in there. There was a period of time which stocks went under a really heavy barrage from investors, and a lot of companies took a real hit. And I noticed that if you look at the younger companies, they were taking a much firmer whack to the face than Microsoft, Google, and so forth. And I think that was just investor unconfidence in smaller tech firms. And that's when people were saying maybe no more tech IPOs this year. Maybe that's the end. But then, here we have Match and Square both doing very well. So the IPO window is still open. The question is, for how many companies?
Right. So let's move on to Match. I guess we're calling them Match, not Match.com.
Well, I think it's officially Match Group, but I think Match is just, it's a colloquialism.
Right. Match.com makes it sound like it is 1998, right? So
maybe it actually is, and we're just confused.
Maybe. So they're another company that seems to have been around for a while. Their initial public offering price was $12. It closed at $14.74 today. Yes. Was that surprising?
Less so, because they make a lot of money. So the difference between Square and Match is that Match is profitable. And so if you're an investor and you're trying to buy growth and hot companies, that's great. But if they also make money in the bargain, well, that's even better. But you have to keep in mind their $12 IPO price was the low end of their proposed range. So even though they did well on their first day, they certainly didn't price too aggressively. So you almost want to be a little conservative when you price to ensure a good first day performance. But they're a cool firm. What I love though is how Sean Rad, the CEO of Tinder, which is part of the company, gave that disastrous interview right before they IPO'd. It was the worst possible time.
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to get into the specifics of it, but if
I don't think we're allowed to on the show. So.
Okay. Yeah, the very specifics, no. We would get fired, as he and his PR person should have been. But
yes.
But it was sexist. It was homophobic. It was he's also been accused, or his old partner has been accused of being racist. It was all these. It was just terrible. And you read it and you think, he did not intend to sound like that. But I mean, you can't protect who you are, I guess. So. Do you think that affected the? I know they had to come out with a statement for the SEC saying they didn't condone or approve that interview. How did that affect anything today?
I mean, given that Tinder is one subsidiary of this larger corporation, I don't think it might hurt them too much. But I mean, it's just really bad because this is when you're trying to be the most impressive, the most enticing to people that are going to buy a lot of your shares. And so it's just like it's a facepalm moment. I'm sure that entire corporation was just like, "Are you kidding me? Right now? Really? The day before we go public?" But it still worked out. And so you can't knock the hustle. You can't knock the results. At the end of the day, and I hate that phrase, I'm so sorry. They're up. They're public. They pulled it off, and that's the core lesson here for all of us.
Right, and a little bit is about the app Tinder. I mean, basically, it is designed. They will say this. It's not true. They say many people get married after meeting each other on Tinder, but it really, when I look at it, as maybe this is an old person way to look at it, but it's like let's swipe through to find someone whose face I like, so I can go home with them. And
right.
So it's
that's how you judge character that way. Judge a book by its cover every time. Judge a person by their face every time. That's all you need to know about anything. It's one swipe and done.
Right. So Match owns Tinder. They own OkCupid. They own other sites that I've heard of, Plenty of Fish. I haven't heard of the other one, too. They own MeTick and Two with two O's. At this point, who are their competitors? What else is there out there?
Well, I mean, there's Bumble, for example, which came out of a former Tinder executive. The dating market is incredibly fraught with ideas and so forth. I mean, even down to like Coffee Meets Bagel, for example. I think that the one downside to the dating app arena is that there's always something new and better coming out. And so when Tinder had its massive growth surge, it did very well, but it's not that hard to rebuild that technology. And so if users decide they want to see the newest and coolest, they could lose their preeminence. And you have groups like The League taking their own take on dating and so forth. It's a really competitive space. It's almost like cloud storage in a way. So many players, lots of money, lots of usership, but I mean, certainly shifting sentiments. So Tinder has to stay on top somehow, but how do you take a product that's very simple and make it better without making it complex? I mean, that's their issue.
Right. I mean, and interesting, these two companies are interesting. Like, we're spending money and we're trying to meet people and fall in love. The two things.
Isn't that what we all do every day? I mean, like, that sounds like everyone's life. We're going to spend money, hopefully stay in love or fall in love, and then we're all going to die. And that's how it all wraps up at the end.
So at the end, it makes a lot more sense than a company like Twitter.
What's the old phrase? A long enough time frame, everyone dies, or something like that.
Right.
It's okay. But I think that the overall picture of these two IPOs is that investors are still willing to buy tech shares. They're willing to bid them up, and the IPO days are not over for this year. Or the year's almost over, but certainly 16 should not be a year of a closed IPO window.
So you're going to be on Twit this weekend talking about.
I believe so. Yeah.
Well, they are expecting you, so you better be here.
I will come. I promise.
So talking with Leo on Sunday about this news and other news this week, other things you've covered at TechCrunch. You wrote a great article about Adele today not putting her music on any streaming service. So if you're interested in that, you can check that out at TechCrunch.
Yeah, if you don't like the lyrics that I wrote, and just know that I think they're terrible too. So it's not, you're not alone in that opinion. But it was a fun, it was kind of a joke we just did in the office today. Why not? Have some fun. Exactly.
Well, Alex Wilhelm is a writer at TechCrunch. He is at Alex on Twitter. Thanks so much for joining us.
Thanks, guys.
And finally tonight, as we just said, the New York Times reports that Adele will not let you stream her new album called 25, no matter what streaming music service you subscribe to. The British crooner did not comment on the story, but according to people familiar with the matter, Adele is only releasing her album on 8-track tape. I'm just kidding. That's not true. It will be available to purchase or download, or it will be available in stores if you still go to stores, but you will not be able to stream it. Earlier reports said that Adele was considering going the Taylor Swift route and not releasing her album to stream on Spotify after Spotify refused to limit the new album only to paid subscribers. Adele tried a similar tactic 5 years ago when she released her last album, but it was finally available to stream on Spotify and elsewhere. Music executives don't seem to be worried. The single Hello has sold 1.1 million copies since its release last month, and they claim they will be able to sell 2.5 million copies in the first week without the help of Spotify and Apple Music. Thank you very much. That is it for this edition of Tech News Tonight. We are on Facebook, facebook.com/Tech News Tonight. You can like us to get links to the show when it's posted, watch the video, and see some of the stories we talk about. And if you want to be part of the conversation, post a comment on the story that we post, and we might read them right here on the show. You can also subscribe to the show at twit.tv/TN2 and write to us at tn2@twit.tv and watch live every weekday at 4 p.m. Pacific. And don't miss our morning news program, Tech News Today, every weekday at 10 a.m. Pacific, 1 p.m. Eastern. I am Megan Morrone. Thanks for watching.
Bandwidth for Tech News Tonight is brought to you by CashFly.com.